a certain extent, coming and saying, which cartel are you going to join? And if you don't want to join, they're killing you. And our police are corrupted. Most of them are getting on the take now. I mean, this is spreading like cancer. You've got the floor, David. Tell us what's happening.
All right, thanks, Alex. Yeah, a few days back, it was a Thursday night. There was a football game out in Rio Grande City, and apparently there was a good amount of spillover with the military, the Mexican military and their police chasing cartel. They still haven't come clear whether it was Zetas or the actual Sinaloa cartel, but they crossed over into the Rio Grande City area, and it wasn't very far from the football game. And they tried to, downplay it, but so many police officers that have children that play in sports here along the Rio Grande Valley caught wind of it, and eventually the media caught wind of it, and they did admit that there was some crossover, but it's dangerous, It's a bullet doesn't travel 10 yards, So,
but they didn't admit how widespread it was. They just said, across the border, some shooting. Can you describe what's now going on here? Because I would talk about this a year ago, and people say, that isn't happening. The helicopters, our listeners would say, there's firefights, there's helicopters, 10 miles in. Now that's confirmed, but again, the media won't report on the details.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say maybe about a month and a half, 2 months back, a farmer threatened to shoot down a Mexican military helicopter, and he was told not to by the local law enforcement agency because he could get in trouble. And later on, they come to find out that no one wants to confirm nor deny whether they have permission or not to cross into our airspace, which is totally ridiculous. I mean, they consider themselves a sovereign nation just as much as we do, but yet they can come in and we don't have any right to find out that information. That's public information. We should be privy to know who's flying into our airspace and landing on our taxpayers, on our citizens' ground, on their property. They don't want to do
just to be clear, sir, a couple months ago, the Pentagon did say, yes, we've given limited authorization, but obviously they won't tell you locally because it's a violation of sovereignty, but they wouldn't be coming in if they weren't given permission. Now, the question is, did they have permission to come to that sheriff I interviewed and take the drugs that he confiscated at gunpoint? Now let's talk about the different, let's talk about more of what's happening down here and the fear, the palpable fear that I'm seeing from people in the United States.
Yeah, I have two friends that I know, acquaintances that I know that were working in maquiladora plants right across the river. And, to save time and money and whatnot, getting off work late at night, they would just go ahead and stay on the Mexican side. And one late evening, he heard a knock at the door, and he answered the door, and he got dragged out onto the street. And they started questioning him. He was like, you got the wrong guy, blah, blah, blah. They beat him. They stripped him. They took him out into the middle of nowhere and continued to beat him, and they gave him his shoes. And no, as a matter of fact, they gave him his pants, no shoes, walking barefooted, and a driver's license. That's how they gave him back. And he found his way back home or into the town where he was living along the border there in Mexico. He said the next day they went back. He heard a knock again, and he peeked out the curtain of his window, and it was the house next door, the apartment next door, and they dragged 2 or 3 kids out and popped them execution style in the back of the head and left them out on the street in broad daylight to send a message to everybody.
Well, that's all over the news. I mean, I remember seeing beheadings in Arizona a few years ago, and I talked about it, and they wrote articles saying I was making it up, and the Democrats came out and said it wasn't true. And, you've got Los Zetas burning down the casino, killing 40-something people, pouring gasoline down the air conditioning system. You've got 40,000-plus dead. You described this as a genocide. In your own words, talk about what's happening.
They're continuing. It's on a daily basis. I mean, I get to see and talk to so many people that come across the border from Mexico, and these are people that are obviously well off, that they can move anywhere they want, and they're moving across the border and opening up business and moving away because they said it's just a constant everyday thing, that it's almost to a point where they're growing numb, and that's kind of sad because they don't even have the power to fight their own government and say they want true change because there was a report on ABC News, I believe it was, saying that 87% of the businesses are infiltrated by one cartel or the other, and it's either you do or you don't. And they sent a clear message to a school right outside of Monterey. They laid out some heads of course, no bodies. And then they proceeded to dump the bodies in other places, telling the school teachers, if you want to show up to work, you better start paying us because we need some money from you now, or else we're going to start hitting up on the schools. And whether people believe it or not, just look at what's happened in China and Russia, where stuff like that has gone on. And of course, we don't get to hear the whole story about it, but this is right here in our backyard. I mean, it's at our back door. We need to know what's going on. Am I saying we need to go over there and get involved? No, but I am saying we need to protect our borders. Obama's willing to send 100 and some plus advisors / troops to the other side of the world, and he can't send 100 more. We need the help here. Desperately need the help because they are beheading. They're gutting people up in broad daylight. They're dumping bodies off the highway for people to see. They do not care. They do not care. And people need to realize that those people eventually are going to make their way onto this side, and they're going to start intimidating more. It goes all along the border on our side of the country, along the Rio Grande City, along Texas, Laredo, El Paso, all the way down to Brownsville. It goes on a constant basis because a lot of these people end up going back home to Mexico or vice versa, and they catch wind and say, hey, you know what? You're going over, you're making money, we need a cut. And it's like, I'm barely making it. Well, you're not going to make it at all. You need to give us a cut or you die. It's just plain and simple. There's no way to try and wash this and say, it's a bit exaggerated. It's not. It's exactly what it is.
Well, you can't exaggerate it. I mean, it's footnotes in the paper that they shake down. The police are told to pay protection money, the school teachers, and now they've even killed U.S. diplomats, and our own government won't do anything for them because our government is so deeply involved in narcotics trafficking. And the stories you mentioned about the teachers, that's in the news. What is it like for you, though, to see American citizens afraid? Because I try to talk to people on boats I've chartered, to go fishing with my kids, private little boat. They won't talk. People at restaurants won't talk. The cops won't talk. But then I have Mexican nationals come up, and you can tell the wealthy type folks, and they say, I listen to your show. I'm shocked by the fear, but also I think I've had more people come up to me down here than even in Austin. When you approach me, you're a listener. Is my show heavily listened to down here?
A lot of my friends and relatives do listen to your show. There's one gentleman that has a radio show / TV show, and he says that the spin stops here. Well, let me tell you what, there's no spin on your show. What's going on is the truth. There's tons of facts out there. People need to wake up and realize that our government's not doing enough. It's crazy. I mean, there's parts along the 281 here in the Rio Grande Valley where you can actually, I'm no Brett Favre. But I could throw a rock and hit the river. That highway goes right along the river's edge. You can actually throw a rock and hit the Mexican side of the border. And there's still areas where the wall hasn't gone up. And you and I had discussed a little bit about that wall. There's sections that are still porous, that's still open. And it was funny because my father and I were joking around, you know what, that wall's probably going up to keep us in and not let them in, but to keep us in from leaving. And then Ron Paul says the same thing too. I just thought that was kind of eerie.
No, that's true. It's just incredible. Now let's get into this situation going on. Because that should be national news, the firefight outside the football game, but it's not. It's just, there was some cross-border things tonight, and it's just getting worse and worse. Let's get into the camps, because there's this big giant, looks like a Super Bowl stadium over there on the Bay side, right outside South Padre. Tell us about Bayview Detention Center, the tent city at Raymondville, and the weird aircraft flying in, turning their lights off and things, because the word we've gotten is they're flying goodies in there and flying troops out. And you were telling me that you've got some sources in there.
Yeah, that's actually it's an old CIA base that was came to an end as the Cold War also came to an end, and it's called the Port Isabel Bayview Airport. And ICE runs the show out there. It's an ICE detention center for immigrants from around the world. And, the funny thing is, I'm going to say it's probably been about 14, 15, 16 years back. The county came to the city of Port Isabel and made a presentation before the mayor and the commissioners and the city manager requesting, help and an okay to put a Doppler radar. And I couldn't quite understand why would they want a Doppler radar out there, because this is long before this actually became the size of a camp that it is now. It can house anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 people easily, and that airport is still usable. They still use that airport out there. You can land the biggest crap out there that's built right now. I mean, it has no problem landing tons of planes out there if they had to. And my sources tell me that there's training being conducted quite often out there. And the
stay there. Let's get to the military and foreign military and the rest of it on the other side. We've been out there to check it out, folks. We're here on the front lines of the info war, physically at the border. Stay with us.
Hey guys, are weaker testosterone levels taking you out of the game? Are you gaining fat, feeling tired, losing desire in the bedroom? Get back in the game. Call now for a risk-free trial of Ageless Male, a natural supplement shown to raise testosterone by 61% and maintain healthy, normal levels. No injections, no appointments. Just take Ageless Male every day and boost your testosterone by 61%. When your levels are healthy, you can feel energy again, a great outlook again, and yes, a healthy sex drive. The results are life-changing. Beware of cheap knockoffs. Ageless Male is an exclusive formula and the only one proven in research to boost testosterone 61%. Try Ageless Male, risk-free. Just call 1-800-497-8345. 1-800-497-8345. 1-800-497-8345.
There are limitless ways to go into business for yourself, but most involve substantial capital and risk. Our InfoWarsTeam.com operation is different. We promote premium quality health, energy, and skincare products using dynamic, caring personalities and state-of-the-art media technology to spread a powerful message of health, wealth, longevity, and freedom. This low-cost business opportunity is designed for full-time or part-time, so you can work as little or as much as you'd like. It is you that defines the reward level. Whether you are seeking a few $100 extra per month or a 6 or even 7-figure annual income, it's up to you. Want to find out more? Shoot an email with Infowars Team in the subject line to Infowars Team Coordinator MZ and tell him a little bit about yourself. That's the initials MZ at InfoWarsTeam.com. That's MZ at InfoWarsTeam.com. I only promote products that I truly believe in, and these are phenomenal. Whatever you do, visit InfoWarsTeam.com.
Hi, I'm Mark Craighead, founder of Crossbreed Holsters. I designed our top-selling holster, the Super Tuck Deluxe, to solve the problems of being poked, pinched, and gouged while carrying concealed. The Super Tuck Deluxe is the most comfortable, most concealable holster on the market today. We offer a 2-week free trial and a lifetime warranty.
Visit us at crossbreedholsters.com. Don't forget, crossbreedholsters.com.
We want to know, how do you use WebEx?
When I travel, I use WebEx for face-to-face meetings with clients online. We share documents and presentations, and they know even though I'm not in the office, I'm always available to them. WebEx is awesome.
Connect online and share what's on your computer screen with others. Anytime, anywhere. On their desktop, on their laptop, or mobile device. Go to WebEx.com right now and try WebEx free. WebEx from Cisco. WEBEX.com.
Okay, folks, coming up after our guest leaves us at 5 after next hour, we're going to have Ben Fuchs pop in. But first, I'll get into all this other news. I mean, each one of these articles is so bombshell. Mitt Romney took advice from Obama's eugenicist enthusiast science czar.